All right. Welcome back. It's week 4
Week
of the
4
Chasin
already.
Bling Podcast. Holy moly, has the last 4 weeks ever flown by.
Oh,
As
sure.
always, that's Big Ben over there. I'm Coop, and welcome everybody to, as I said, episode 4 of the Chasin Bling Podcast. We've got what we think is another great one for you today, and as always, things wouldn't be possible without our company 60, which we like to think we're providing everybody with the ultimate in sports uniforms and teamwear with vivid colors, great fabrics, and as always, free mock-ups. Got a little thing to introduce to you today. So without Well, we would like to introduce everyone on the viewer channel to Team 60. Team 60 is a new and interesting kind of team atmosphere, I guess, within 60, Ben, and a way for a way for us to share with our customers some savings, some discounts, a little referral bonuses, and some exciting affiliate partnership opportunities. So, if you want to know more about Team 60, please visit our website, sweet60.ca/team60, or get a hold of Big Ben or myself on our emails, which are jim.sweet60@gmail.com or ben.sweet60@gmail.com. Exciting opportunities for our customers, Ben.
Oh, yes. Big things are starting to flow into the works for you and I. And, it's going to be an exciting journey for us ahead.
Absolutely. And as always, we wouldn't be able to call ourselves the Chasin Bling Podcast without our friends at Legend Rings. They make some absolutely fabulous product, being that it is champ season for minor hockey across the country. Give us a holler. We'd love to help you out and get you into a piece that can truly help tell your championship season story with the help of a little, well, maybe not so much little, maybe some big bling. And as we introduced last week, Ben, we've got working into the mix this week again. The official drinking game for the pod, brought to us by Black's Distillery here in Peterborough, Ontario, located very, very, very. There I go. We need to do another one with me saying very, very, very a lot, Ben. Located in East City, 99 Hunter Street in East City, Peterborough. They've got some great stuff. I was in, I was in week, Ben, talking to Ernest, and they had just finished a new batch of flavored vodkas, and so I had the opportunity to sample the sour apple and the sour raspberry. Oh my goodness, so good. Holy moly, I'm on a roll today, Ben. Better watch out, folks. The ability in the summer to add some of these cool flavors to either a little soda water or maybe some Sprite 7 Up, really refreshing. goes down super easy. I'm just blown away by everything that I've sampled so far with Ernest, and coming up, we'll be going live on location from the distillery in the coming weeks. So look forward to doing that and being over there and being able to showcase from inside the distillery what the folks at Blacks are doing.
Yes.
With saying all of this, we do have to kind of have a little bit of a disclaimer. We would like to remind everybody that, while we're having some fun with this, to please drink responsibly and abide by your local drinking age. And we will not be held responsible for any actions or outcomes as a result of personal decisions. So, just a little word to the wise, please drink responsibly, but, have a little fun with us, All right. So this week we've got a couple of exciting topics that, we're going to have a little fun with, take a little time to give each topic its due, and because they are both very, very important. Only two this time. And so let's dive into our topics for this week. Coming in with topic number 1, we've got the USPORTS Ice Hockey Championships.
Yeah, we got Ice Hockey Championships taking place in 2 separate locations, both for the men and women. The men's are running from Thursday on through the weekend, and they are located in Ottawa this year. The 8 teams participating is number 1 UNB, number 2 Saskatchewan, number 3 is Concordia, 4 is Toronto Metropolitan, 5 is Mount Royal, 6 is Moncton, 7 is Queens, and 8 is the host Ottawa.
The men's draw, UNB has been so strong for so long. Me being a football guy, I kind of put them in the same category as Laval, where they seem to be either at or right next to the top every year.
Yes.
And so it'll be interesting to see over the course of the next 4 days who comes to play.
Yeah.
Because as you know, tournament style events where it's single elimination knockout, if you have, you can either have a team that gets on a real big hot streak and comes in and plays their lights out, or if you're not ready for game 1 or any of your knockout games, you could be going home early.
Yeah, and same can be said for the other teams that could be struggling coming into this tournament, and something clicks, something gels, and here we are. We got a team off on the races and could make a huge impact down come the weekend.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. I like to get on my soapbox and really pay homage and its due to these athletes.
Yes.
They come from elite areas. They are phenomenal athletes. And if you can get out, like these athletes, you won't be disappointed. And quite frankly, you'll probably be pretty surprised with the price of the ticket that gains you access to these great events. Now, on the women's side, we're just traveling kind of just down the 401 a little bit, a few hours to Waterloo. And Waterloo will provide, like, it. If the old barn is still there, it's such a historical place to watch a hockey game. And with the teams that are in this year, having Alberta come in as the first seed, and then Toronto 2, Bishops 3, St. FX 4, Concordia 5, my Thunderbirds from UBC in at 6, and then UNB at 7, and the host Waterloo at 8. It's a great cross section of hockey from across the country.
Oh yes, we got teams from all over the country represented here in Waterloo.
Well, and this is the great thing about USports and how everything kind of shakes down to championship tournaments, because we literally have teams from coast to coast.
Yes.
And this whole tournament play down situation is exciting. And I think that as we kind of move through summer and into football season, we'll talk about it more, but the playoff situation now in the NCAA, it gets on the football side, gets a whole lot more interesting because of the fact that you have the opportunity from across the country to then get down to your champion.
Yes.
So, and like we just said earlier, any one of these teams can get on a hot streak at any time. So it's exciting to come in and see who comes out at the end with the trophy.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I know for both you and I, we'll be keeping an eye on over the next couple of days to see how these teams pan out over the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
But it'll be exciting. If you're in the area, like we said, go support these athletes. The atmosphere will just be that much better for them down the stretch. And you never know, you could see some really good hockey with these athletes.
For sure. All righty. Now, it's March. It's March. And there's a bit of madness around.
There's a lot of madness. As probably most viewers probably know, some of the best time of year for sports, and this comes to our championship season where it comes to March Madness and the NCAA basketball. A lot of people I know participate in the brackets. I know you and I have talked over the last week about, who's going to be in, who's going to be out, how our brackets are kind of different but kind of similar. So it'll be interesting to see what shakes out this week and, the next couple weeks with the tournament.
Absolutely. It is an exciting time of year, and I know that a lot of people, like you said, participate in different bracket pools and things of that nature. We have we do one here at the house with the family, and so it makes it an exciting time. Unfortunately, the kids are away right now, so it's just Shelly and I participating in the bracket this year. But it's always fun to go down the list and make your picks, and you have your favorites, you have your schools that you follow a lot, but as the more you get involved in watching the tournament, the more you find that there are schools that are just great tournament teams.
Yes.
And the one thing that I really enjoy about the basketball side of things in the NCAA, with the number of teams that play, is that it's not always the big powerhouse schools that you traditionally see at the top of the heap come the end of season in football. This is where you get some smaller schools that will make a big run, and some other predominantly small schools that just do very well at basketball.
Yeah, and it shows during the brackets how some schools, you just know they're basketball schools from years past, paying attention to the March Madness and what the tournament brings.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you a question, Ben.
Okay.
Are you a favorites picker, or are you somebody who likes to see that early upset?
Well, traditionally, I'm a big upsets guy. But taking the time to go through the bracket this year, I found, and doing some research on my own, I went against the court a little bit, and I picked mostly favorites this year, especially in the first round. But in the second round, I have some upsets in there, and it goes deeper into what I have down the stretch in my bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Talking off camera, I know traditionally I asked you the same, and
yeah, I traditionally will pick one or two of the first round upsets somewhere. I went against trend this year and did not do that. So we'll see whether it's to the good or to my detriment, as to how my bracket holds up. I do have some interesting choices come second round and third round, as things flow through kind of the Sweet 16 into the Elite Eight and through to the final. I think myself and Taylor Lewin are the only couple of guys that have kind of publicly put down on paper that that Michigan is a big school for us. Him because he went there, and me because I do follow the Wolverines quite favorably through football and basketball.
Yeah, so I think it's time that we run through what we have in our Sweet 16 and going forward to the final.
Well, all right. So do you want me to lead off, or do you want to take the lead here?
I guess I'll start.
Okay.
South, I have number 4 Texas A&M playing number 1 Auburn, and I have Texas A&M upsetting them in the Sweet 16. I have number 2 Michigan State playing number 6 Ole Miss. I have Michigan State moving on. In the West, I have number 1 Florida playing number 4 Maryland, with Florida beating Maryland. I have St. John's, number 2, playing number 6 Mizzou, with St. John's moving on. In the East, I have number 1 Duke playing number 4 Arizona, with Duke moving on. I have number 6 BYU playing number 2 Alabama, with another upset. I have number 6 BYU moving on. Ooh. And in the Midwest, I have number 5 Clemson playing number 1 Houston, with number 5 Clemson moving on. And I have number 3 Kentucky playing number 7 UCLA, with Kentucky moving on. That being said, moving into the Elite Eight, I have Michigan beating Texas A&M. I have Florida beating St. John's. I have Duke beating BYU. And I have Kentucky beating Clemson. And then my final 4, I have Florida over Michigan State and Duke over Kentucky, with Florida beating Duke in the final. And finally, the Gators will host another trophy in this tournament.
All right. Just going through this, and we have some similarities and we have some differences, which is great. It'll be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks how it pans out for both of us. So for me, in the Sweet 16, I have in the South, I have Auburn versus Michigan as the first game, with Michigan beating out Auburn. I have Iowa State versus Marquette, with Marquette coming out on top. In the West, I have you and I are pretty much identical in the Sweet 16 with Florida versus Maryland and Mizzou versus St. John's. I do have Florida coming out on top of that matchup versus Maryland, but I have and I do have St. John's coming out on top of Mizzou. In the East, I have Duke versus Oregon in the Sweet 16, with Duke coming out on top. I have Wisconsin versus Alabama, with Wisconsin coming out on top. And then in the Midwest, I have Gonzaga and Purdue, with Gonzaga coming out on top. And the same matchup as you with Kentucky versus UCLA. However, I've got UCLA coming out as the victor in that game. So my Elite Eight matchups will have Michigan versus Marquette, and go blue with Michigan coming out on top. And then I have Florida and St. John's. But again, I go different from you on this one, where I've got St. John's coming out as the victor. In the East, Duke versus Wisconsin, with Duke winning. And then Gonzaga versus UCLA, with Gonzaga coming out on top. Putting a semifinal with Michigan versus St. John's. Again, with the Mighty Wolverines taking that game, and Duke versus Gonzaga. Unfortunately for Gonzaga, their run will stop there as Duke comes in on top. And as you and I talked about earlier today, with the matchup of Michigan and Duke, it doesn't matter who ends up in that final game. That final game is always tight. It seems to always come down to the final second or seconds of the game, and it's a really coin flip of who plays the best last 10 seconds.
Yes.
And for this year, I have the Mighty Wolverines playing the best last 10 seconds and claiming a national title for the University of Michigan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Question for you, and this tournament speaks, like we just said, upsets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at your bracket, and I was looking at mine earlier, is there any one team you can see other than, traditionally a top 7 team kind of making a run at this thing? For me, I think North Carolina is going to make a run. This team had controversy coming in whether or not they should have been picked to be played in this tournament. They crushed the first 4 opponent, beating them by like 27. At one point, they were up 46. They get Ole Miss in the first round. They're a bit of a wild card. I do have Ole Miss beating them, but that's to be said. The Tar Heels always show up in this tournament, and I think they could probably do some damage.
There's a couple of schools that, could go fairly deep in this tournament from a lower seeded spot. One of the schools is Robert Morris.
Yep.
The smaller school, but great season record at 26-8.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm on a roll with those today. The other school, and this school comes in at a 9 spot, so not like kind of mid-pack, but always a challenge. And we talked about this school earlier, and I was surprised you didn't pick them to go for a big run because of their mascot and the fact that they are your baseball team, the Creighton Blue Jays.
Yes.
They are, and as we talked about, they are a tournament team.
They are.
They come in, it seems as though they just get some kind of energy as soon as they hit the tournament and go on runs. And it's funny that they come in at a 9 this year, but it seems as though they're somewhat regularly picked mid-pack, and they perform.
Yes.
So I would look at Creighton. The unfortunate side part for them is if they do, to which we both, I think when we talked, we both have them. Oh, I have them coming out of round 1 into round 2, but then they fly right into the juggernaut of the Auburn Tigers.
Yes.
In round 2, to which you have to play when you're playing against the number 1 seed in the nation. You kind of have to play a perfect game.
Yes.
So, do the Blue Jays have what it takes to play a perfect game in round 2? I don't know. I hope. I've got them picked to beat Louisville coming out of round 1. So I guess we'll see.
Well, we will see, and that's the beauty of this tournament is it's a weight game.
So, who's your dark horses? Oh, you said North Carolina. Do you have another one?
Another one off the top of my head, I would they're traditionally they're a little lower. They're a 7, but I tend to lean their way is Marquette.
Mm-hmm. Good basketball school. Very good basketball school.
They're a very good basketball school. Sometimes they get forgotten that they're a good basketball school. They play number 10 New Mexico in the first round. It'll be tough because we all know after you get out of your first round matchup, if you do, you get seeded up with a couple powerhouses continuing on. And I do see Marquette potentially going on a run. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't pick them to get out of the second round, I got them out of the first round. But I see Marquette as a dark horse as well in this tournament.
Well, the other one, and we both talked about this school this morning, coming out of the first 4 was, not North Carolina, but Xavier.
Yes, Xavier.
Xavier could go on a run. The problem for them is in round 1, they come up against a really good team in Illinois.
Yes.
And if they do not squeak, but if they do manage to pull out the W on that one, it lines them up potentially against Kentucky round 2.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this tournament pans out. There's always surprises. There's always Cinderella stories. It'll be interesting to see what comes at 2025 in this tournament.
Oh, guaranteed. And as we all know, there's always a lot of excitement. There's always some drama. And so I'm excited to start watching and seeing how this all pans out this weekend.
Yeah, me too.
Well, my friend,
Another week.
That brings us to the end of another great episode. I thank you for as always for your input and your opinion, and I look forward to doing this again next week.
Yeah, and for everyone watching, don't forget, give a like, follow, subscribe, check out The Drinking Game, check out Black's Distillery. They're good friends of ours. They got some good stuff to offer, and as always, thank you.
Absolutely. Great comments, and we'll see everyone hopefully next week or on your own time on the channel. Have a great one, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Wow. It was a challenging verbal one for me this week. You know.
You know.
Bye, guys.